I got nothing to say, apart from there's going to be a whole lot of hurt.
That's just the mentality we have to have as fighters. I don't know if any other fighter thinks that way. Maybe they're a bit more tamed. But the things I watch and the way my mind works, when you're in that ring, it's a dangerous place to be and anything can happen. I just outclass this kid, that's all it is. I'm just gonna outclass him. I'm a serious fighter. That's just the difference. I'm a serious fighter. You're gonna get
Tyson Fury interrupts Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua final face-off. Fury storms in and immediately calls out AJ, challenging him directly while the YouTuber hangs awkwardly in the background. But all eyes are still on Joshua. His intensity, power, and championship aura are unmatched. Fury's interruption adds drama, yet it only highlights AJ's dominance and experience. Jake Paul looks out of his depth, while Fury's call-out hints at a far bigger fight that everyone secretly wants to see: Joshua versus Fury, the true heavyweight clash.
Like that, he's 37-year-old at the end of his career, fighting a YouTuber, a Disney Channel guy, who Tommy beat, and now he's talking about killing him and all that to try and sell. Please,
Fury doesn't hold back, directly calling out Joshua while warning him about the absurdity of fighting a YouTuber. The Gypsy King mixes humor with intimidation, highlighting AJ's decision to step into a spectacle rather than a serious opponent. Fury's words underscore the mismatch, but also put Joshua's focus into perspective. AJ remains composed, a seasoned champion facing a social media sensation, and his aura of authority barely wavers despite Fury's verbal onslaught.
Here's a fun fact. If I ever come across you, bum, I'm knocking you dead spark out. I ain't a YouTuber or a man half your size. I am him, the man. You're a classless loser, coming off a 15 months knockout defeat to a local lad. Imagine if someone from
Anthony Joshua fires back, calmly reminding everyone of his experience and past battles, even against Tyson Fury. AJ's words assert his dominance and focus, showing he isn't intimidated by Fury's interruption. While the Gypsy King stirs drama, Joshua remains the real heavyweight star, stepping up to prove that his skill and championship aura outshine any spectacle.
But I remember with Ngannou, he beat up Tyson Fury over 10 rounds and somehow Tyson Fury got the decision. But I think Ngannou won. And I was then called in to fight Ngannou. And I knew there was a lot riding on it. And with this one, in terms of putting boxing on my back, it just seems like I'm being called in.
David Hay predicts AJ's aggressive strategy, emphasizing his power and precision. Joshua isn't taking Jake Paul lightly. He's aiming to dominate from the start, while Paul relies on movement and angles. Hay's analysis highlights the huge skill gap. This isn't just a fight, it's a display of AJ's elite experience against a social media fighter.
I think Anthony Joshua's going to go for the knockout real quick. I think Anthony Joshua's going to really go for the knockout, and Jake Paul's going to try to outbox him, use the big ring, cut angles, like he's been doing in sparring.
Eddie Hearn underlines Joshua's lethal efficiency, reminding fans of his past dominance. AJ's skill ensures there are no excuses for opponents. He finishes fights decisively. Even Jake Paul, with hype behind him, faces a former champion whose precision and knockout power are unmatched, making this bout heavily one-sided in AJ's favor.
When AJ, decapitates a strong word, but when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? When AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ.
Simon Jordan points out Fury's antics, but stresses the positive. It builds hype for British heavyweight boxing. Tyson's interruptions may be dramatic, but the real story is AJ's readiness. Joshua's focus and championship pedigree shine through, proving he's the serious fighter in the room, while Fury adds tension, not doubt, to AJ's dominance.
Rich, isn't it? Because some of the tripe that's come out of Tyson's mouth over the years has been oafish and boorish. So for him to get on these high horse and start calling people classes is a bit like the pot and the kettle. But it's Tyson making sure that everyone's aware of him. And if it brings out a fight between these two generationally great British heavyweights, then so.
Johnny Nelson emphasizes Joshua's psychological edge. AJ isn't just fighting, he's teaching lessons, breaking opponents mentally and physically. Jake Paul faces not just a heavyweight puncher, but a strategist who exploits every weakness. Joshua's dominance ensures Paul is overmatched, making this fight heavily skewed toward the champion's experience and raw power.
Got them to panic up there, so then they learn the lesson to think, I ain't doing this shit again. AJ needs to torment him like a cat with a mouse. He needs to torment him. I don't mean a mouse just picking and poking, I mean punching and kicking. He needs to really damage him where he...
Carl Frock points out the huge experience gap. AJ is a proven heavyweight knockout artist, while Jake Paul has only faced smaller, less skilled opponents. Frock highlights that this mismatch isn't theoretical. Paul has no real answer to Joshua's power, making the fight almost guaranteed to favor the former champion.
But AJ's a big punching heavyweight, and fake Paul's never been in with a heavyweight. Like I said earlier, he lost to Tommy Fury, a cruiserweight. He lost to him. Tommy Fury's not even British level, so you can't chuck fake Paul in with Anthony Joshua and take it serious.
Frank Warren brutally highlights Jake Paul's uphill battle. He's stepping into a world he's not prepared for, facing a seasoned champion in Anthony Joshua. Fury's earlier call-out makes this even clearer. AJ isn't just fighting a YouTuber, he's being dared by one of the greatest to show why Jake Paul doesn't belong in this ring. This isn't hype, it's reality. Paul is outclassed and outmatched, making the fight a spectacle of his own overconfidence.
Well, this was at a different weight, and obviously I knew he fights at, but I fancy him because he comes up a weight. I think it's going to be a real tough fight for him, a tough night.
Sam Jones underlines the sheer danger Jake Paul faces. This isn't a sparring session, it's a heavyweight demolition. Anthony Joshua's power combined with Fury's verbal dominance exposes Paul as dangerously out of his depth. Everyone watching can see the inevitability. Paul could be overpowered at any moment. Fury's presence only magnifies the humiliation, making Paul look more like a YouTube performer than a legitimate boxer.
Those things he said, I just think that this could go really wrong if like I say, you want him to come out, no matter what anybody thinks about Jake Paul, you want him to get out of the ring and be safe. But the reality is, if AJ hits him like same way he hit Francis Ngannou, he could brown bread him.
Fabio Wardley cuts through the illusion of Jake Paul's chances. Yes, Paul has power, but against AJ's skill and Fury's looming call-out, his chances are near zero. This fight is shaping up as a public spectacle of overconfidence. Fury's interruption already set the tone. Paul isn't a threat here. He's a cautionary tale of what happens when hype meets reality.
I don't know, don't get me wrong. Anyone can catch anyone, and Jake Paul has proven he's got a bit of power in those hands, so he could catch him, but it seems extremely unlikely.
Dave Coldwell lays it out bluntly. This fight is over before it truly begins. Jake Paul is outmatched, and Anthony Joshua's strategy is clinical. Fury's earlier interruption underscores the humiliation. AJ isn't just winning, he's demonstrating dominance while Paul struggles to survive. This fight will cement the gap between a real heavyweight and a YouTube celebrity attempting to play in the big leagues.
AJ is going to splash him in about a round, and the max is that Jake Paul runs and AJ just wants to play a bit of cat and mouse in the first round and then does him in the second round. But I cannot see in any universe how it goes beyond 2 rounds. And for Anthony Joshua, for boxing, it has to go inside the 2 rounds.
Johnny Nelson perfectly captures the inevitability of this matchup. Anthony Joshua doesn't need to overthink. He can dismantle Jake Paul systematically, exploiting every weakness. With Fury already interrupting the face-off and calling out AJ, the psychological pressure on Paul is massive. He's out of his depth, a YouTuber facing a true heavyweight, while AJ is fully prepared and focused. The plan is clear: wear him down, break his confidence, and finish him decisively. This isn't just a fight, it's a masterclass in skill versus hype. Tyson Fury's presence only magnifies Paul's inadequacy, making him look even smaller in the shadow of true boxing greatness. Expect AJ to dominate every second and leave Paul humiliated in front of the world.
Now, if I was AJ, I wouldn't knock him out. I would knock him out straight away. I'd absolutely torture him.
Yeah, but only for a round.
No, I wouldn't. I'd beat him up every round.
No.
Just to the
How many rounds would you give him then?
I'd get him to the point where he's tired, then look.
Eddie Hearn highlights Anthony Joshua's peak physical condition. This fight exposes the stark contrast between a disciplined champion and a YouTube sensation. Jake Paul has never faced anyone with this combination of size, skill, and dedication. Fury's earlier interruption emphasizes the absurdity of Paul thinking he can compete. Every pound, Every rep in AJ's camp translates into raw power and endurance, meaning Paul will struggle just to survive the opening rounds. The man stepping into the ring isn't a social media persona. He's a finely tuned machine ready to exploit Paul's every mistake. It's a masterclass waiting to happen, and the world will witness just how outmatched Paul truly is.
Make him wait, because he was probably sitting at, I don't know, 265 pounds when camp started, just a little bit heavier. And if you look at him now, he's in the absolute shape of his life. And actually,
Lennox Lewis brutally exposes the fantasy surrounding Jake Paul. Sure, he might land a lucky punch, but against a calculated, disciplined fighter like AJ, even a clean shot won't be enough. Fury's interference earlier reminds everyone that this isn't just hype. AJ is respected and feared by true champions. Paul's so-called power is insignificant in comparison, and the fight will likely never reach a scenario where he can realistically threaten AJ. Every movement, punch, and counter from Joshua is backed by years of elite experience. Paul's chances are negligible, and this fight is shaping up as a showcase of his limitations. Tyson Fury calling out AJ adds psychological weight, making the YouTuber look even smaller before the opening bell.
He has a puncher's chance. A puncher's chance. I mean, he has to wind up to be able to hit that chin, and he has to be accurate to hit that chin and to be able to knock Anthony Joshua out.
David Hay points out Paul's desperate strategy, running, countering, and hoping to survive. It's a timid approach, designed to buy time rather than dominate. Anthony Joshua, fully aware of the threat, or lack thereof, can pick his moments to strike with precision. Fury's earlier interruption only amplifies the pressure, exposing Paul's vulnerabilities. Every tactic he tries is easily read by AJ, who is calm, collected, and at peak physical form. Paul's plan might make the fight look scrappy initially, but ultimately, he's just delaying the inevitable. AJ's superior strength, skill, and composure will overwhelm the YouTuber, turning every attempt at cleverness into a display of futility.
I think Jake Paul wants Anthony to come across the ring and attack him. I think he wants that type of energy. I think he's planned to move around the ring, lose lateral movement, use counter punches. So I think that's part of his plan. It looks like Anthony Joshua's playing into it. There's a little.
Abel Sanchez sums up the absurdity perfectly. AJ faces almost no real risk, while Jake Paul is massively outclassed. The fight is lucrative, yes, but also a spectacle of Paul's overconfidence. Fury's prior interruption underscores the humiliation Paul faces. Even seasoned champions see him as a novelty. Paul hasn't fought anyone who challenges his skills, and now he's in the ring with a world-class heavyweight. AJ's calculated power, speed, and ring IQ make Paul's attempts laughable. Every movement is a lesson in futility. This isn't just a fight, it's a masterclass in dominance, a showcase of what separates true champions from internet sensations. The world will watch Paul's ego collide with reality, and it won't be pretty.
This kind of fight for AJ, very little risk, extremely little risk, and a big reward. I mean, why would you not take it? But as a fight fan, I thought it was a farce. I mean, Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul. It may not be. It may be a little while back, but still, he hasn't improved that much. And he hasn't been fighting anybody that's posed a problem.
This face-off has set the stage for a clash that is more than just a fight. It's a spectacle of reality versus hype. Anthony Joshua enters the ring at the peak of his power, skill, and focus, fully aware of Jake Paul's limitations. Every analyst, from Johnny Nelson to David Hay, has highlighted how outmatched Paul is, while Fury's dramatic interruption only amplified the stakes and humiliated the YouTuber further. Fans are witnessing the build-up to what promises to be a one-sided masterclass in boxing, with Joshua in complete control and Paul scrambling to survive. The narrative is clear: AJ is here to dominate, and Paul is simply out of his depth. Don't miss the action. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're front row for every punch, every reaction, and the ultimate showdown in boxing history.